The US military's shocking move, Patriot and THAAD missiles deployed to Middle East as tensions with Iran reach boiling point. Is World War III imminent? The United States is making an unprecedented military move that could change the course of history. In a dramatic escalation, the Pentagon is pulling Patriot missile defense batteries from South Korea and rushing them to the Middle East, marking the first time ever that equipment from U.S. Forces Korea, USFK, has been repositioned to this volatile region. This isn't just a routine troop movement, this is a clear signal that the US is preparing for a potential full-scale conflict with Iran. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the world is watching with bated breath as tensions reach a fever pitch. The decision to relocate these critical missile defense systems comes at a time when North Korea remains an active threat, making the move even more alarming. Why would the US risk weakening its defenses in Asia unless it believed an even greater danger was emerging elsewhere? The answer lies in the Middle East, where a massive military buildup is already underway. The USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier has been redirected from the Indo-Pacific, and the USS Harry S. Truman's deployment has been extended. Even more chilling, at least 6 B-2 stealth bombers, the infamous Ghosts of the Sky, have been spotted at Diego Garcia, a strategic British-controlled island in the Indian Ocean. These bombers are capable of penetrating the most advanced air defenses and delivering devastating strikes with pinpoint accuracy. But the real shocker came when former President Donald Trump issued a dire ultimatum to Iran: negotiate a deal on its nuclear program within 2 months, or face bombing the likes of which they have never seen before. These words, spoken in an interview with NBC News, sent shockwaves across the globe. Iran's response? Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei vowed immediate retaliation if the US attacks. Reports from Iranian media suggest that the country's missile forces have already been placed on high alert, with underground launch facilities prepared for action. An anonymous Iranian official went even further, warning that any US strike, whether launched from Diego Garcia or elsewhere, would trigger a massive counterattack with no distinction between American and British forces. The US is clearly taking these threats seriously, hence the urgent deployment of Patriot and THAAD missile defense systems. The Patriot, particularly the advanced PAC-3 variant, has proven itself in Ukraine by intercepting Russian hypersonic missiles, weapons once thought to be unstoppable. Now, these same systems will be tasked with defending against Iran's Fateh-1 hypersonic missile, a nightmare weapon capable of evading traditional defenses. But the Patriot isn't foolproof. During the Gulf War, a single Iraqi Scud missile slipped through, killing 28 US soldiers. If Iran launches a saturation attack with dozens, or even hundreds, of missiles and drones, could the Patriots hold the line? That's where that comes in. This cutting-edge anti-ballistic missile system is designed to obliterate incoming threats in mid-flight, providing a crucial last layer of defense. With radar capable of detecting launches up to 2,000 kilometers away, THAAD is a technological marvel. But even the best defenses can be overwhelmed, and if Iran coordinates a massive strike with its regional proxies, like Hezbollah and the Houthis, the consequences could be catastrophic. The situation is eerily reminiscent of the lead-up to major conflicts in history. Diplomatic channels are strained, military forces are mobilizing, and leaders on both sides are exchanging threats that leave little room for de-escalation. Iran has already shown its willingness to strike directly at adversaries, as seen in its April 2023 missile barrage against Israel, following an attack on its consulate in Syria. If the US follows through on its bombing threats, will Iran unleash its full arsenal? And if it does, will the Patriot and THAAD systems be enough to protect US forces, or will this spiral into a wider regional war? The next 2 months will be critical. Either diplomacy prevails, or the world could witness a military confrontation unlike anything seen in decades. With so much firepower concentrated in the Middle East, a single miscalculation could ignite a conflict with global repercussions. The US is playing a high-stakes game of brinkmanship, and Iran is refusing to back down. One thing is certain, the world is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next. Will cooler heads prevail, or are we on the brink of World War III? The countdown has begun. The clock is ticking. What comes next? As the deadline for Iran looms, the world stands at a crossroads. The US military buildup is undeniable, and Iran's preparations for war are equally real. The deployment of Patriot and THAAD systems is not just a precaution, it's a clear indication that Washington expects retaliation if it strikes. The question is no longer if a conflict could happen, but when and how far it will escalate. If the US launches airstrikes, Iran's response will likely be swift and brutal. Missile salvos targeting US bases, attacks on Diego Garcia, and coordinated assaults by proxy militias could turn the Middle East into a war zone overnight. The Patriots and THAAD may intercept many threats, but no defense is perfect. The risk of significant casualties, on both sides, is terrifyingly high. Beyond the immediate military clash, the geopolitical fallout could be even more devastating. Russia and China, both with strategic interests in the region, may seize the opportunity to further destabilize US influence. Oil prices could skyrocket, global markets could crash, and the specter of a wider war, one involving nuclear threats, could become a reality. The final factor is the wildcard of leadership. With Trump's aggressive rhetoric and Iran's hardline stance, the margin for error is razor-thin. One misinterpreted move, one accidental strike, and the situation could spiral out of control before diplomats can intervene. The world hasn't seen tensions this high since the Cold War. The US and Iran are locked in a dangerous game of chicken, and neither side appears willing to swerve. The next move could determine whether we see a negotiated resolution or a catastrophic war that reshapes the Middle East forever. The missiles are in place. The forces are ready. All that's left is the trigger. Will it be pulled? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the world is watching, and history is about to be written.